Welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to analyzing on the stories that we read out to you earlier. And my guest on the show today is Captain Umar Jarabo. He retired and he is a security expert. It's great to have you on the show today again, sir.
Thank you, Annabel. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so our phone lines are open. Viewers, you can call in to make your contributions, ask your questions, or tell us exactly the story that interests you the most. All right, so let's quite a number of stories, but all the national headlines decided to pitch their tent or start their headline or their front page story with regards to the Niger coup. So now let's talk about the Niger coup. The Punch says UN, AU, ECOWAS meet on next move as NSCIA warns federal government. Major decisions expected at Abuja meeting. Kano Emir Sanusi meets the Junta leader, Tiani. And Nigerian rebels vow to restore disposed president. And coup leaders accuse France of fueling crisis. Quite a number of headlines, story to gather out from there. Also, you have the Nation's newspaper says Niger Islamic clerics wade in to prevent military action. Tinubu okays intervention. Resolving crisis needs everybody. That's coming from the Emir of Sokoto. And I saw a particular story from social media, or a particular story, yes, and it actually says no light, no human contact, and eating dry rice and pasta. That's coming from the Niger's ousted President Bazoum as he complains of his situation in detention. Now, that's quite a number of issues to resolve or to analyze, but I'd like you to take them in one breath. But before you go ahead, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. Please go ahead.
The issue of Niger is a very serious issue in this contemporary period because with the takeover by the junta and the announcement of the ECOWAS using military intervention have already bring a cankerworm in the issue, because we expect that ECOWAS should be able to start with a diplomatic process, not outrightly giving ultimatum and coming up to say that they want to use military intervention. It's not happening in international politics. You must start and end some of the process. We know by the ECOWAS articles or rules that they can go under military intervention, military enforcement, peace mission, peace support. All these issues need to be taken one by one. We expect diplomatic process first. After diplomatic, then they can now take next step. Now they pronounce military intervention and some sanction, and automatically they started taking effect. Now they didn't look at our relationship with the Niger. As an Africa, when you look at our foreign policy, our foreign policy in Nigeria is Africa is the centerpiece. Then now non-alliance movement, which we are part of it, right from 70s, and coming to see how issue of non-interference with internal affairs of a country, just like us. It happened to us in previous time. Series of military intervention have come to Nigeria in terms of military coup, but no country ever interfere with our domestic affairs. They only use through domestic and other instruments of law based on United Nations agenda and charters. When you look at United Nations agendas and charters, which Nigeria is banding on, give us all the leverage to take all this action, but you must exhaust that aspect. And
what aspect? That's the diplomatic aspect.
That's diplomatic.
First. Okay.
Negotiation, dialogue, to see how, why, because look, you are talking about humanity. Niger, indigenous civilians, they say they want the military coup. So you outsider, we know we have been to Liberia, we have been to Sierra Leone, but it's not under this type of situation. The issue of Liberia is a conflict within internal conflict. There's a coup and there's another counter coup, there's another rebel group within a country. The same thing in Sierra Leone, but this one is somebody have taken over, only one person now. So if you want to fight, who are you fighting? You are fighting the country directly. We'll talk about the consequences of it.
But shouldn't ECOWAS know better than calling for this sanction? Because I keep asking, with having all these sanctions and all these restrictions, and then you have Nigeria take away their electricity, isn't that breach of contracts?
That's what we are saying. It's too harsh on them. You have to consider the civilian, particularly who are the victim. You took over light. Is it the military that will have light? If you went for military intervention, what about humanitarian crisis? The refugees.
And now we have a border, so it means
yes,
that there will be influx.
They are all coming to us. Then look at the advantage they have. Burkina Faso, Mali, Ivory Coast, all they are Guinea, they are in support. Look at even the Algeria. Today is going to be part of the BRICS meeting that is going to take place in South Africa. That to tell you how aligned they are. Then what is happening in Libya, which is another border, is only having good relationship to us, maybe Chad, where even yesterday we learned that French have used Chad to even bring confusion, because the attack that happened yesterday, according to some source, is ignited by France, which the Niger is accusing. Thank God we have a mutual relationship with them. Some traditional rulers have started intervening, which have...
How much do you think that will even do? Because at some point they said they don't even want interference.
Yes, they don't want interference, but they have no choice than to accept certain condition of dialogue.
They don't have a choice?
They don't have choice, because you cannot live in isolation. If somebody say he's going to create solution to a problem, you have to listen to him. Now, these people are going as part of diplomatic. We know that even the American envoy was there, and they refused to give him chance to see the president, the former president, which is part of all this. It's a breach. But they say in their own statement, the Coup letters, that they are going to respect all international law and rules and regulation. So
let me ask you, Captain Jarabo, if anything, God forbid, like some people would say, happens to the ousted president Bazoum, what happens?
That is going to be a problem.
For who?
For the country.
The coup plotters,
yes,
or the country itself?
The country itself. Because the safety of that man is very, very important. If something happened to him, that is what it will give even the leverage for the military intervention. That these people, they refuse to adhere to international diplomatic process. You can kill him. So his life is very, very important. So if he is not safe, that will aggravate and give room for even the France and other countries to justify their involvement.
Now, because you talked about France involvement, we know that we've seen the how much international powers have so much interest in this matter, and then you have Western powers, including France and the US, have decided to cut off their financial aid to Niger Republic. How much will that affect not only them, but also the African nation and all of its people?
You see, that is part of a dependency theory that is affecting the Africans. They ask us to open our border, to make communication freely, business freely. In return, they give us aid. If you refuse to do that by closing your border, they seize your aid. And that is why the African countries are having problem, because they will over-rely on them.
On those aids.
On this aid, on these foreign ideas, on this foreign master. You know that the Iranian in Ukraine, in Niger, have been used or tapped for the past 60 years by France. Their nuclear weapon was used to develop through Niger. Their power supply, almost 60% of France's power come from Niger. Don't forget, American troops are in Niger. They have over 1,000 troops there, live. So the same thing with France. Now, look at the Wagner, the issue of Russia. They have succeeded in throwing France from Mali.
Okay, so I need you to pause right there from that issue of Russia. Let's quickly take this call. We'll continue from there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Annabel.
Good morning, sir. It's great to hear from you. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, this is Akim calling from Lagos State.
It's good to hear from you, Akim. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning to you, analyst. Okay.
Good morning.
Let me go back to the topic. one thing I think the ECOWAS are having their meeting today. Well, that is very fantastic. But there is one other thing that we need to look at, because if coups are happening within those territories that France colonized before, they are supposed to be something that the ECOWAS need to look into. Because if sincerely democracy that is sold to Africa is truly democracy, then I don't see a reason why the France and the West would still be having some control, you understand, in Africa. So we show that the so-called democracy sold to Africa is just a deceit in order to continue exploiting Africa just like they did during the colonial era. So I want to call the attention of the ECOWAS, which is being led by our able president, to reconsider. Africa, we are shouting, we don't want any war in Africa. Yes, military coup is never a welcome idea. But at the same time, again, the democracy that is being practiced across Africa, the regional group need to reconsider and see and look at it very well, that are we really doing what democracy actually implies? Our people are living in poverty. There is no job across the country, all Africa. What do we need to do? We have all the resources. We don't need a situation whereby the West will be continually exploiting us, and only simply because some of our leaders are enjoying the Westerners, then giving us direction that is never a welcome idea. And finally, on this issue, like I say, our African leaders, they need to be thinking in the right direction of what is happening in the world today. Nigeria, Africa entirely, we can never be left out of the multipolar war. So take it or leave it. The war is shifting towards the multipolar, which is the best idea. We don't need any unipolar wars in this world. And this is what the Westerners are trying to keep again. And at the end of it, if war should happen in Niger, it's a very big mistake ECOWAS will make, because Russia will never let go of those Nigerian and other things. The sign is there. There. So we don't want the extension of war from Ukraine, which is being fueled by the Westerners, to Africa. We don't want it. They don't like us. I'm sorry to say. The Westerners don't like us. It's just a deceit. Our leaders need to change the way they think. Thank you for this opportunity, Annabel and KAFTAN, and hello to your analyst. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akim, calling us from Lagos. Great to hear from you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Annabel.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. You are on to SMD from Lagos.
SMD from Lagos. Go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate your contribution, and let me appreciate KAFTAN TV for giving us this ample opportunity to say our mind regarding the nation as well and the world at large. Thank you very much once again. Let me quickly respond to the issue of the Istanbul ECOWAS, where they were having meeting today, ECOWAS, EU, and UN, which is a very good effort. But the question is, why the ECOWAS chairman, who happens to be His Excellency Ahmad Bola Tinubu, the president of our country, and the ECOWAS head of state, refuse the exact proceeding right from day one, which is the dialogue process. You understand? Because this, I look at it in a political angle, because there must be dialogue and then mediation, whereby we will reach a consensus or some agreement. Because in a political democratic system, there is three political ingredients, which are lobby, dialogue, and the reconciliation. And I believe, if you look at it very well, this is an issue of political economy, believe in me, whether we like it or not, because we know almost 35% of the global resources are deposited in Africa. So the question is, what is wrong with our leaders? The 35% of the global resources deposited in Africa, whether we like it or not. So shall we remain in this present predicament? The Western world are after what we have. Let me be honest with you, whether we like it or not. So the reality of this, they come largely from the way you think, the way you feel, the way you observe, and the way you act. So it's right time for the ECOWAS head of state and then African continent to sit and think twice and do the needful for their nation. We are facing challenges of terrorism, especially in Nigeria. 14 years of Boko Haram, 9 years of banditry, and some other issues, the oil boundary. Look at it. For how long shall we remain? Is there any Russian or American come and invest in Nigeria for refinery? We only see them coming up with his refinery. Where are the looting crude oil taken to? Where are they? Who are the people looting our crude? Who are they?
All right.
So something has to be done. The dialogue and the mediation is quite necessary if we want to get things right. Thank you very much. And remember, there is issue of this international relation. There is issue of this non-intervention of international law, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much. I remain SND from Lagos.
Thank you so much, SND from Lagos. Great to hear from you again. All right, let's continue. You were you're talking about the Russia part of it, and then I hear SMD and Akim also talk about it, and then even ask why not the diplomatic intervention first before the military, with regards to how the chairman of ECOWAS, even who is our president. And then they also say you have our own internal crisis and our own internal insecurity, but then how much you want to put your fingers on other people's business and then go through it in the military way. How much what are your thoughts in all of this?
You know, it's just like
sorry, we need to take this call. He has been calling for a very long time. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Tell us your name or where you're calling us from.
Hello, is it KAFTAN TV?
Yes, it is. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. I'm calling from Yola, please.
Okay, go ahead. You have less than 1 minute.
Please, I want to commend the effort of the former Emir of Kano, His Royal Highness Muhammad Sanusi the third. In fact, he has done a very wonderful job.
All right.
We should try to solve this problem through diplomatic means than going to war. And secondly, we should not blame the President's Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Bola Tinubu. It's not personal. This is what he was trying to, go by the decision of the ECOWAS.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
ECOWAS. So as the chairman of the ECOWAS will not take it as personal. No.
All right.
He's the chairman of the ECOWAS and he has to go by the decision of the ECOWAS and the United Nations.
Thank you so much. Your contribution is very well taken. Please go ahead.
You see, it is international politics. When you look at after the collapse of Soviet Union through the Coup in 1989, the world become polar politics. America become the police of the world. Democracy become the norms. Capitalism become the order of the day. So you must operate within the context of democratic rules. That's why, before that time, from 80s up to 89, all African countries, majority are ruled by the military coup, military juntas. But with that effort, they now say it's a rule. For you to remain United Nations, you must democratize. So now, it is the continuation. What is happening in Ukraine? The same continuation of that crisis. When the Soviet Union fall within, all this breakout. Ukraine formerly was former Russian territory. Today they are independent with the support of America. So even this crisis we are talking about, America have said it, they are not interested. France have started attack. So what are we saying? It's another war.
So if you have France, which is their former colonial powers, and then they now decided to cut off their relationship with them. And then I hear, I think it was the military government in Mali that said we've been collecting all their aids, and now if we don't, and it has not even done anything for us, so we don't even need them again. So if you have France making all that statement, and how much will it even affect them?
It will affect them more, but the issue is that they are trying to like reform their own system. They want
so we don't want anything from our colonial
They want to take their
masters.
destiny into their hand. They have given them everything, but yet, as you said, no any progress. It's still confusion. There is no coup that will take place in any country without the help of international community or any country outside the state. Now, even this one now, when they did the coup, you see the Protestants are carrying Russian flag, flying. Wagner are saying it's a welcome development. France are saying that they don't need this thing. So, if not because of our proximity, we could not worry much. But our porous borders, we have almost 7 or 6 states covering Niger. So, what happened? We are like brothers. During Nigerian civil war, Niger supported the cause of Nigeria. Gawan went to Niger and seek for their support, and even after that, he went there to thank them. So our relationship is very, very important. The ECOWAS issue, now look at what is happening in Chad. Chad is the same military issue. This guy died, his son took over from him, and they now reversed to democracy. So if
what exactly is the problem with African leaders and wanting to sign into permanency in office? If I'm not there, my son or my family must take over.
Sit-tight syndrome. And that is what is causing our problem. That's why we are going backward, because we don't have new idea. Look at what is happening in Cameroon. The president is there for the past 40-something years. So, and these are France ideology. If you can dance to their tune, you don't need any support from anybody. They will back.
They put you there.
Your military equipment must be them. Your military training must be them. Your currency must be them. Your lifestyle must be them. So it's a neo-colonialism. It's a continuation of colonialization. Because look at it now. The whole natural and mineral resources are in Africa. They need it. And we today, we say we want to cut up. That's why some people are even accusing the former president of Niger, Bazo, that it is his own utterances and idea that bring the coup. That even France is supporting it. He was in Nigeria during the commissioning of Dangote refineries. He said so many things, that they are about to cut up with France. They are developing their own, they want to develop their own currency. They want the ECOWAS to develop their own currency where they can be using it without them going to France. You know that you have to deposit part of your currency in France. All the Francophone countries that you see within the Sahel region, France print their money. It has guarantee for them. They will tell you, the Minister of Finance of any Francophone country must go and submit his own report to France. Before, they don't have central bank governor. It is in recent time they started having it. So it's a domination, and we keep on following them. But at times we have no choice, because you are talking about Security Council. Who are the members of the Security Council? Who are the people that has the veto power? If you go to ECOWAS, they are the one to decide, because everything that comes to United Nations come down to African Union, down to ECOWAS. It's the same process. So I don't know when the Africans will started thinking like Africa. But we are not going to think like Africa because of that division. Some, recently now, almost 40 countries has a meeting in African Russia summit. Almost 40 countries are there. The Russian president, he even forgives some 20 billion debt to African countries that are indebted to their country. And
that's why you have some presidents, like the president of, I think
South
it was,
Africa,
that said that we are not beggars. That's the president of Ghana, I guess.
Fine, Ghana.
He said that we're not
but
we're
the
not
issue
beggars.
is that whether you are not beggar, you are a beggar. Because what do you go there to do? Develop your own. You went there to ask them to forgive you the debt.
Your debt.
So what are we talking about? So it's the same thing, it's beggar issue.
All right.
Now BRICS meeting is going to take place next month in South Africa. Who owns BRIC? It's Russia. So we have Russia bloc, we have France bloc, we have British bloc, we have American bloc within the Africa. So there's no way African countries will be united. Why? Because Francophone countries, they believe that France have supported them, build their life, everything is France. Some like South Africa now, during the South Africa apartheid, Russia support them. So they can't run away from that. That's it. Now we are coming
now
to...
Now you owe your allegiance to them.
Yes, because they are the one that help you during the need. Apartheid struggle, America refuse, British refuse. But Russia, under Soviet, give them the military aid, the financial aid to struggle. And they struggled and succeeded. That's why you see them championing it.
All right, let's quickly take this call before we go ahead. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
All right, so let's go ahead. And I heard some people just decide to say that if the Niger people decide and say that, okay, what they want is the military government. Okay, we'll give them military, definitely. But if they decide they want to the democracy, let the general or the military stay there and then decide, okay, just like you have in other African countries, I will remove my military garment and then go on Agbada. One and the same thing. Do you agree?
Yes, that is the dialogue issue. We want this system, and you are in this system. Fine, I agree with you, but give me chance in the next few days or few minutes or few months, I'm going to democratize. We conduct election, maybe by removing my own Agbada or my Kaki and join the Agbada.
And join the Agbada.
It's the same thing we talk about in Chad now. Silently, they have done it. So he can even choose that to create peace for himself. Because if you say military intervention, he cannot withstand. He cannot. Niger can never withstand Nigeria in military might. We can crush them, but the issue is that who are behind them? Russia have started another third world war may happen, or another third coup or second coup war will happen. Russia is going to back them. France and America are going to support Nigeria and ECOWAS. So how do you look at it? But the casualty.
Casualties.
That's the problem we're talking about. Even us here in Nigeria, they will still attack us. And look at it. It's just a step between some villages and Niger. This line, this is Niger. This is Nigeria. So if there is a military crisis, what happens? You put bomb from here or missile. Anybody can go. So, and this other people we are talking about, the Western country, the Western ideas, they will stand by this crisis. They are ready to give us every support we need. So
that's the reason why you have the president decide to ask governors who are around the state that have shared border with Niger to go and make peace. Isn't that the reason why you have them?
Yes, because
especially like the Sultan of Sokoto.
Sultan of Sokoto,
the Emir.
When you look at historically, part of Niger is under Sultanate during the jihadists. Part of Niger from the northeast is under Borno Empire before the colonial master. So that relationship is still there. If you go to Nigeria, you see some Nigerians, they marry there and stay there. Some from Nigeria are coming here. So they have that relationship. Like now, the Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, with his own position now as the Tijaniya Caliphate of West Africa, he has his own followers who are in Niger.
Do you think that his resolutions and his meeting with Niger yesterday at Niamey, do you think it would heed to any resolution at all?
Yes, because their influence is too strong. You talk about religion, you talk about belief. So if you look at it now, if today in Nigeria now, this group say, this is where we are going, they are going there. The same thing in Niger, if they can call attention of the president, say, no, we don't want this problem. Accept their own idea. Sit down with them. Hear from them. First.
All right.
Then take a decision.
All right. We've actually flogged out this matter along for a while. Let's leave that and then take other matters. But let's quickly take this call. Hello. Good morning. All right, so let's go ahead and take other stories with the presidential or the ministerial nominee, and then those that have been nominated and those that are yet to be confirmed. Now you have President Bola Tinubu would be meeting with El Rufai and Wike later today. And then some people would tell you that isn't this recycling of old governors and old people that their states electorate refuse to elect them, and then you bring them back as ministers. Even though I know that you are the national coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima group, but let's have your thoughts as a Nigerian now. What are your thoughts with regards to the presidential, the ministerial nomination?
You know, as a matter of fact, you know, in Nigeria, we have a lot of challenges. You know, politics is about contribution to certain movement. Some people were brought back because of their contribution, which the party or the president look at it important. That's aside. Other they are bringing them because they are.
So that's for compensation.
That's it. Other are coming in as a technocrat who will manage some sensitive position that needs somebody with technical knowledge. So these are some of the challenges we are facing now. In other countries, nobody care whoever come on board. In fact, in some places like Erupai, initially he said that he's not going to even collect any. That
he wanted to go and further his studies.
Study whatever. That's how it's supposed to be. But sometimes there are certain people that they are very important in a political struggle. If you don't go with them, anything can happen because of the confidence they have.
What do you mean by anything can happen?
Anything can happen. There can be division
from the people that you do not
party.
Pick. Oh,
so that nobody can control or help you to navigate.
So you mean that they have to be taken so as to settle scores?
Look at what you talk about. Wike, cool? It's the leader of the G5. They are in PDP, but they condemned the PDP. They fought against the PDP. They stood with the presidential candidate and brought him in.
So they have to be compensated.
So it's part of the compensation.
No, it is. Agreement is agreement. That's the word here.
The issue. In another country, he may say no, just give to this man. Me, I'm okay. But in Nigerian context, it's not so. If I contribute, I now look at one of my political mentees, I say, give him the appointment. I have done it before. He is a minister already. You remain minister. You remain former minister forever. Even though you do minister 3 times, you are still former minister. So we have that problem. Like Erufai, you remember that during the challenge of the primary election, which is the key ingredient that brought Tinubu to the power. When they say Amelawan should be the presidential candidate, the same Erufai them say no, not have agreed that the power must shift to the south. And they stood by that. They called along and the rest that the northern governor have held their own meeting. He announced it that no. That is what counter the Abdullah Adamu and the Amelawan issue. And that paved way for the primary election that produced Bola Tinubu. Even the delegate that vote for Tinubu mostly are from the northwest, and which Erupai, they are the ones superheading that struggle. So coming now to issue of Senate ministerial nominee that he was to confirm or not to confirm, you see a time in this country, we look at people with myopic ideas being giving way to move. I leave those who can contribute. There are certain people that where they are, they have the capacity to even contribute.
So that means you disagree with the nomination list?
Lack of the confirmation.
Oh, that's what you disagree to.
Some of the.
But do you agree to the ones that they just ask them, they come in and then they just take the usual ticket power and go?
How can we agree with that? These are some people that they never even they are not even qualified. Some of them are not even qualified to be minister.
All
when
right.
you go to their profile, they don't watch it. But because of...
Are you going to mention name now?
I can mention them.
Please mention
like
name.
Zampara Gomno. What did he did? Look at his
So you're saying that
profile.
he's not
he is not fit to be minister.
Oh.
Go and quote me anywhere. Look at the issue of the bandit crisis that we are having in the Zampara state under his own eyes. What happened? Look at the money. Look at the allegation from the security aspect, the SSS, the DSS. What happened? We need to be careful in this country.
But the president should know better, shouldn't he?
You know, that's what I say compensation.
Compensation.
Before coming here.
All right.
So if they want to compensate people, they should be careful in selecting who to use to compensate, because there are some people that can bring downfall of the party. They are talking about preparation for 2027. Let them be careful.
All right. Thank you so much, Captain Yahaya Jarabo Umar, retired security expert and national coordinator, Northern Alliance Movement for Tinubu Shetima Support Group. It is always a pleasure having this talk with you.
Thank you so much, Annabel.